So as you guys know, Unity 2018 has to do with graphics for the most part. There are a bunch of new features getting introduced to the engine and they're all super exciting. One component really sticks out for the graphics though, and that is the new post-processing stack 2.0. So in this video, we will be taking a look at how to get started with the brand new image effects and how to use them in your games to achieve greater graphics. If you do enjoy the video and would like to see more, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below so you stay up to tune for new content. And now without further ado guys, get your Unity projects ready because we're about to start. Hey guys, it's Sam here and welcome to a brand new episode of Unity 2018 Beginner's Guide. In this video, like I said before, we are going to take a look at the brand new post-processing stack 2.0 and learn how to get started. And by the way, I just want to ask, before getting started with the video, have you guys been missing me? Because I haven't been able to upload for a whole week if you didn't realize. Actually more than that. So I really do enjoy being back now that I can record my videos because I at least have my microphone with me. And in fact, I'm recording on my work laptop, which is pretty funny because I'm not used to using the mouse pad, you know, the internal keyboard, which is very far away from me because of the laptop. But it's pretty funny and it's kind of enjoyable at least being back, even though the quality is not top notch. But basically, so if you didn't know, I now work with Unity Technologies and have moved to Copenhagen for that very job. If you want, I can actually make a video covering that whole story and going through the transition, what it is like working with Unity and stuff like that. So let me know in the comments if you would actually like that. I also want to give a huge thank you to Richard Stans, Cupola, Tromber MCP, and all of our other Patreons supporting the channel. And if you wish to check out more about Patreon and how you can support the channel, feel free to check out the link in the description. But now let's begin. So first and foremost, we will open up Unity, and as you can see here, I actually have a project that uses the HDRP template for the new scriptable render pipeline in Unity, and you don't have to use this if you don't want to. It's just something that I wish to use in order to demonstrate the newest features of Unity and make sure you guys catch up and, you know, don't get left behind. I also, in fact, have an entire tutorial video on the new HDRP and how to get started with that. I just punched my microphone in once again. Wow, surprise. But yeah, so if you guys wish to watch that later, you can do so by clicking the link in the description. So when you have Unity running, you're gonna want to enter Window and then hit the Package Manager, and this window called the Package Manager is where all of Unity packages are now located. In the older versions of Unity, you had to enter the Asset Store and download through there, which you can still do, but the post-processing stack page now actually links you to their GitHub repo where you can basically download 2.0 because it's still in preview and being developed. Or else, you can also, instead of going to the page, you can also download the whole pack without actually exiting the Unity editor in the first place, which is done right through this package manager introduced to Unity quite recently as well. So when you have the package manager open, you can now enter the Alt tab and see all of the packages you are able to download and then pick post-processing through the list. Now the important thing here is that you pick the latest version and not 0.1.8 or 0.18 or something like that, or any other version in fact that it states here. You're going to want to click on the version and then pick 2.0.7 through the drop down menu, and now you can hit the install button and let Unity import it for you. So when it is imported, you will be redirected to this in project tab where you can basically see all of your packages in the project, which is now also going to include post-processing. Good thing. So now you can close down the package manager if you're already done, and we will go to our camera that we have in the scene. Now when you're on the camera, go ahead and add a component called post-process layer. This is basically the component that allows your camera to render the post-processing in your scene. And first, just make sure that the trigger is set to be this camera you are adding the component onto, which it should be by default, but just make sure that it's nothing wrong. And after that, make sure to set the layer to be post-processing because this basically specifies this component and tells Unity that this is the post-processing layer component and it should be rendered as the post-processing in your scene. Next up, you can actually pick an anti-aliasing solution that you wish to use, which is pretty much our first image effect, aka post-processing, that we can add. So if you're not familiar with anti-aliasing, aka AA as it's also called, it basically eliminates the harsh edges of your objects. That allows for smoother edges and greater visual fidelity, and you can also pick to enable fog besides that and decide if it should affect the skybox or not. Now let's go ahead and add another component onto our camera, which is the image effects library itself. This one is called post-process volume and it contains all of the image effects such as bloom, ambient occlusion, and so on. We are in fact going to go over them in just a moment, moment, but before we move on, let's make sure that we set it up correctly so everything works out. So first and foremost, let's set the layer post-processing to our camera object. So this is basically needed for the post-processing to work in general, and to simplify that, you basically need to set this layer on whatever objects holds the post-process volume script. When that's done, you can basically go to the volume script and either pick a preset for the profile or create a new one. The profile is basically a preset you either create, or if you use an existing one, it doesn't really matter, it's pretty much up to you, that contains all of the image effects themselves. You can save the profiles and create in order to use them in other scenes as well. And now right below that, you will see something called overrides. An override is basically an effect that you add to your component, and in order to add a new one, you can click on add effect and then pick something through the drop down menu that unfolds. If you don't know what all these effects do individually, no worries, you're not alone. I will basically explain that in just a moment, but first, let's check out a few more crucial settings before we move on. So as you can see, we have something that is called isGlobal. This variable allows you to pick either if this post-processing profile will be applied to the whole scene, or if it's just going to be very restricted to a specific area in your game. If you don't use isGlobal and wish to restrict the post-processing, you can basically add a collision component which allows you to pick the zone and also the size of it by editing the size of that very collider itself. Since we are on our main camera right now, it's kinda useless to add like a sphere collider or a box collider to this one, because the camera will always be inside of its own component either way, because that's pretty much the object that we are moving around. So you might want to add a new game object for doing that. Speaking of which, if you were to create a cube, then resize that cube and set its trigger in the collision settings to be turned on, you will be able to assign a zone by editing the size of that cube collider. Now, if you also add the post-processing volume script to the cube, then when the camera enters this zone, aka the cube itself actually, the scene's post-processing will dynamically change and transition. Now there are also options to play around with the transition settings, so you're not limited there, and you can do so by modifying the blend distance field inside of the volume script. If you increase this field, you will realize that an external collider in the scene window is now visible. While the camera moves through this new collision zone, the green lines, it will slowly transition into the new post-processing profile the cube has assigned, or rather you have assigned on the post-processing volume script. So it's a very nice way of adding different and multiple post-processing volumes to your scenes, and it does allow for amazing customizability regarding your scene's graphics. So in a nutshell, this is basically how you use the new post-processing stack 2.0, install it and get it going. Now obviously those are the crucial settings, so this will be a very good start for you now to actually get it going on your projects and get it up and running. As I promised earlier though, let's also quickly go through the effects and their settings before ending this video, since it is a beginner's guide. I want to help you guys as much as possible. If you try adding a new effect, first up we have an effect that is called Ambient Occlusion, which you will also see. This effect basically gives your scene stronger shadows and your objects are going to be affected the most by it. This is especially good looking when you have vegetation, because it does add that kind of occluding effect where the shadows look very good. And when you actually add an effect, make sure to click the checkboxes to the left side of the inspector in order to enable their features. Fun story, I was actually sitting at work yesterday, not today, and I was trying to play around with this because I wanted to get the video ready. So I asked my colleague, I'm like, hey, I'm adding the effects, it's not working. He's like, you have to enable them. I'm like, I thought that it was grayed out. I'm sorry, my bad. Don't fire me, please. No, but it does look grayed out when you add a new effect, doesn't it? Like, admit that, guys. Please leave a comment down below stating that I'm not alone on this. So speaking of the features and enabling them, I suggest you enable all of the features so you can actually use the effect to its maximum capacity, because you don't want to limit that. And we also have another effect called auto exposure. This one is all about letting your scene settings affect the exposure of your scene. This means that if you, for instance, look down in real life to the ground, your eyes will kind of focus and change the brightness of the ground. This simply adds the same effect to your games, and this effect has become very popular actually, and even more crucial for newer games, as it adds high fidelity realism and it's a part of real life too, so why not? And next up we also have something called bloom, which I'm sure many of us, if not all actually, are used to having this effect. It basically adds bloom to your light areas that glow more than the others, and this is commonly overused in games unfortunately, so if you do add bloom, please, for the love of Saiku, make sure you just increase the size of bloom blur and decrease the intensity so your game doesn't look like it's being played in heaven or something. And obviously we also have something called Chromatic Aberration. This might be something that you guys probably haven't heard of that much, especially if you're a beginner. Basically, this adds this very nice rainbow effect to the edges of your objects. This was very well done and demonstrated with the Book of the Dead demo created by our demo team at Unity. I love saying our because I'm a part of Unity now. Just gonna brag that and plug it in the video. I'm sorry, I'm horrible for doing that, but it's just so much fun. It's like a dream come true. And then we also have color grading, which is something I usually have on my level designs to modify the coloring in my scenes and bring out the green in the grasses and the blue in the skies, basically. So this allows you to get more real and bright colors in your games, I mean. And we also have tone mapping as a part of this, as a feature basically of this effect, which is a part of the effect, which you can use now to get more realistic colors and also shadows. Now, the tone mapping is a very crucial effect especially, but it's also very sensitive. So make sure you just play around with all of these values with bloom and stuff like that too, but especially tone mapping in your levels and not just take and copy the values of other people, because it's not going to work as well in your scenes because obviously it's very specific to the scene. And next in the list we have something called depth of field, which blurs out the specific areas of your view. You can obviously modify what exactly is being blurred out and not by setting a focal length and so on, like editing the distance and stuff. And it's pretty similar to the way cameras work, and it's literally actually a camera effect. So you basically focus on one object close to the camera and blur the background so that you can actually put all the focus onto that object. And we also have grain, which is going to add some noise to your scene. It does look very good in bright spots, and you can use it to also add some kind of noise in shadows, but it's not really suggested. And lens distortion will allow you to get the fish eye views, which is the old image effect that was called in like Unity 5, Unity 4. It's actually, I miss those times. But basically you can modify the camera view by using the lens distortion. This almost gives the effect of a GoPro camera if you use it correct, which is pretty cool. And then we have motion blur, which will add kind of radial blur onto objects that have momentum, such as grass affected by wind, objects affected by physics or animations and stuff like that. So, and then we also have screen space reflections. Will give you nice reflections on the floor of your house, especially if you also have buildings. That's obviously a part of it too. If you, for instance, look at the floor beside your fridge at home, in real life by the way, I'm not talking about fictional world, you will most likely see a little reflection of the fridge on the floor, but not the whole fridge. So this is basically what screen space reflection is for. And last but not least, we have the tunnel view effect vignette. I'm super scared of every time I pronounce his name, I'm super worried because I think that I always pronounce it wrong. Maybe I do, who knows. But basically vignette, this will add, well, literally like I said, the tunnel view effect. So this will make the edges of your camera view a little darker basically. And obviously you can make this very extreme, but it's not appreciated by the players, so don't. But basically this kind of gives that very immersive feeling when you play the game. It kind of like increases the tension, I guess you could say, but do not overuse vignette, especially vignette. Like all of the post-processing effects obviously are very important to not overuse, but especially vignette because it's going to ruin your game's view. And that is pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you all enjoyed and found this helpful. If you would like to see more beginner-friendly videos in Unity like this one, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below the video to stay up to date for new content. Also, let us know in the comment section which feature of Unity 2018 you would like me to cover in the next episode, and I'll make sure to feature your idea alongside your comment in the actual video, which is like a little cool interaction we have between us. Now, with that being said, hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you in the comment section and in the Discord server tonight. So have a good one, guys, and peace out.